Today, I'd like to talk about doing side projects, but not with Saas. Is there a different world for side projects besides Saas? But before I get into that, I might sound a little different than other episodes, if you've listened to other episodes before, because I'm recording this outside. So I'm away for the weekend, and I figured I'd still record a podcast, but I'm now doing this outside while I'm walking along the beach with my phone, so it might sound a different vibe than that I normally have. But I did have an idea floating through my head for the past week, so let's get into that. Been building side projects for years. What I've always been building and using are technologies like PHP, Node.js, server technologies that require you to build a website and build that website as a SaaS. So SaaS is the acronym for Software as a Service, which means that people don't need to download anything. They just visit the website, they do what they need to do, they use the product, and then they continue. That's what I've always been doing, and that's all I know. But there is an entire world there different than SaaS. You could build an app as a side project, which means that it will be running on somebody's phone and being distributed from the App Store. You could be building a desktop app, anything else. So, and for me, that's an idea that I started exploring. I've always been doing web apps, because that's the technology that I've learned that I started with 25 years ago. But now with the upcoming of other technologies, it's easier to create desktop apps or different apps for phones or desktops. So now you can apply web technologies and build non-web platforms. For example, with React Native, you can use React and build a native app. You can use Electron and build a desktop app. And for the past week or the past weeks, I was building on Dancuts, which requires video files to be uploaded and downloaded and storage. And I was feeling that was becoming a hassle because I need to store the video, so I need to pay for storage. How am I going to do that with a free tier? People need to wait because they're uploading the videos. So then I was thinking about doing it differently. So building a Electron app, for example, where somebody downloads the app on their desktop environment. They just pick a local file using a file picker. They're able to use, they can pick the different effects that they want. And then the video gets generated for you. And with Dancuts, I, for example, use FFmpeg. And I'm going to look into a way to have that included via WASM, so a WebAssembly, or having people download the FFmpeg binary separately or included in the distribution itself, depending on what is allowed in the FFmpeg license, and just invoke the console command and have FFmpeg do the video for us on the local machine. And the end result is also on the local machine, so there's no reaching out to one of my servers. Everything is done locally, because a different thing that triggered me, besides data storage and video processing, is also that there is now currently a big influx of people building stuff. You need to download software, and no, you need to download software. You need to buy a subscription, and everything seems to be subscription-based. And I also see some comments popping up of people that are getting subscription tired. And I understand why people ask for subscription. It's recurring revenue. It's a guaranteed income. People often forget to cancel their subscriptions. So in that aspect, for the builder or for the developer, creating the app is good. They have a recurring revenue instead of a one-off and having a uncertainty every month how much instances of their software they're going to sell. But I feel that also, and especially combined with the video and the storage part, I was thinking about doing Dan cuts in a desktop app. So that would mean that what I've built until now with Dan cuts isn't really that usable, but it helps in the fact that I now have a mind map, a mind model, what works, what doesn't work, how flow through the app. And the desktop app is of course very different than a web app and how it flows and stuff. But I figured maybe I can build an Electron app. It's also, I like technology. It's also a different technology for me. And I've seen Electron apps that work, like Visual Studio Code is an Electron app, but also Zizi by Kitze is an Electron app, and it works. It's fluent, and of course there are the negative aspects in that every Electron app is shipping its own version of Chromium. I've also looked into alternative desktop app builders. Some use the native system web view to do stuff. But Electron currently still is the biggest player. That's the biggest ecosystem. So that's what I'm going for if I choose to build that. Because the idea is still floating around, but for the coming weeks I have other stuff planned to do, like updating, debugging that site, looking into some bugs and to watch your numbers. But I figured, let's at least have the idea floating through my head of building a desktop app. I've been already looking into some stuff, how the routing with the desktop app, because you just have a local index.html file. How can you protect source code? And I could even attach a subscription model still. So what I could do is I could offer a free download that works with a watermark, for example, and all the other stuff just works. And you could buy a license for a one-off license for a year, for example, that allows you to use that version of the app indefinitely, and you're entitled to updates for an entire year. So I've seen that specific business model. I've seen it promoted by Tony Din. A friend of his had built a SEO desktop app, and he did that. He offered updates for a year, and if you want to have new features after that year, you need to renew your license. So, in this case, besides the license, I could also add additional features like having AI stuff or additional services that are more advanced, like transcribing with Whisper, connecting to an AI model, having allowing to have your generated file to be available for download by proxying data from local computer to my server to someone else, for example, stuff like that. That's what I was thinking about. So those are the ideas that are floating through my head, and I think it's good that I'm letting go of I'm only building Saas things, because we're kind of stuck in a little box. And the saying goes, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So all the ideas that I have converted to a Saas. And maybe if I'm learning to build a desktop app, the step to building a normal app is also smaller. That it's also easier to get started on. Because the advantage there is that you have a distribution mechanism. So also for desktop apps, you have the Microsoft Store, even though I don't think it's not that big. But on Apple, you have the Apple Store. Of course, you need to follow their requirements, but you could have your app published there. I don't know if they allow Electron apps. Probably not, thinking about how you're embedding your own web browser. But you can also offer it for download outside their ecosystem. So that's what I was thinking about for Dan cuts. I think it's good to step out of that Saas box and open myself up to more things. And of course, I also realized that having this or taking this step will again walk me down a rabbit hole of doing technical and implementation stuff and still moving away from marketing of the stuff that I currently have, but with the mindset and the stuff that's been going on at my 9-to-5 job that fits at the moment. So I don't really feel like going far out of my comfort zone and really start reaching out. Of course, I'm following social media and other stuff, and I'm trying to promote what I've built where I can, but I don't have an active marketing strategy. And besides that, I'd also like to focus more on growing my podcast, my subscribers. This is also what I'm building Dancots for. So the Saas that I'm building up to a level that I can use it myself. I can upload my podcast videos there, edit them, and prepare them for social. So I can also share there easier and hopefully get some more traction there, some more connection with other people. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. So for me, that's a pretty big step. The technologies that I'd like to use with Electron are the same. So I want to use an SQLite database I can use with my open source framework SuperSafe. I want to use React on the front end and some UI library. So that's basically within the comfort zone. I just need to learn how to do Electron specific things, accessing files from disk, stuff like that. But that should be okay. So that's what I wanted to share this week here from a very cloudy and drizzle covered beach. There's a jellyfish here. I'll see you later. Bye.